like love, 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 and music. La la la, love, 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 and music.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jaylee. This is Jaylee's Corner, and this is my review for Tamar and Vince. I don't know what episode this is. I didn't even write it down, but it's the episode that came on today. Season 5 episode something. It'll be in the description below, so it's okay. Y'all know what it is. I hope everyone had a great day. It is Thursday. It is Friday Eve. Thank God. It is very cold here today in Detroit. Like, I had to put on a real coat and some real gloves and a real dang old scarf. You know, all that was missing was my hat, but I can't wear a hat because I was in a bun. So, you know what I'm saying? I get all the heat from my head. My bun keeps it in. But I hope everyone else had a great day today. Prayers out to anyone who might be watching me in California. I know the wildfires there. I don't know exactly what's going on. I haven't been able to watch the news in full, but I do know it is crazy how they are kind of out of control. People are having to evacuate their homes, and you know what I'm saying, prayers and blessings to anyone who is living in California dealing with it. If you have family in California who are dealing with it, my goddaughter lives in California for college, so of course I had to text her like, you know, you okay, boo boo? You know, are you safe? And you know, it's just a crazy time. So I hope everyone's just, you know what I'm saying, being as safe as they possibly can, no matter where they are living in the world. So, yeah, kisses and smooches and hugs, and I'm sending you love and love and love and love and love from here. So, this particular episode wasn't as horrible as the other ones. And horrible meaning I didn't feel like, oh my God, this is such an uncomfortable show to watch. Oh my God. Like, I didn't have that feeling. It was still a little cringe-worthy in some parts, but for the most part, it wasn't like a disaster, you know. So I guess that's how we have to kind of try to look at it now, because as we see, this is not going to be a happy-go-lucky, happy season. This is going to be a tough season. So, you know, we see the episode picks up where the last one left off. However, I was confused when I was watching the beginning, because I'm like, not the end of the last episode, they made it seem like, you know, Tamar and Vince got a whole argument, and like Vince was leaving and wasn't trying to shoot anymore for the rest of the day. At least I feel like the camera is just too goddamn close, and it's kind of driving me crazy. People are like, why you be having the camera so close? Like you're trying to hide yourself. Well, guess what? This is as far back as this is gonna go. Anywho, but yeah, it was like the last episode. I thought he left and she left. I was confused. So when this episode started, and it starts from Tamar calling Vince and saying, you know what I'm saying, what the fuck am I supposed to do, manager? What am I supposed to do? It starts from that scene and him still saying, you know, how am I supposed to react to that? And then him coming in and her saying, no, don't excuse them. Let you be exposed. I'm so sick of this bullshit. You know, and it's going back and forth, you know. So we see that. But what actually happened was they did have that interaction. But when they both left the room that they were in, Tamar went down and she did the little interview stuff. And Vince left to go for a walk, as we find out. And, you know, he was saying how, what did he say? Yeah, I'll be forgetting, so I'm sorry. Yeah, so he was, in his little confession, he was saying, like, you know, when Tamar called me the first time, saying, like, what am I supposed to do? He's like, I was on the phone with Logan, in my car, so I was out there talking to Logan, and, you know, when I came in, you know, it's that whole thing, and so I'm guessing he must have went back out to his car talking to Logan, but I was confused because I thought something different had happened, but, you know, it was what it was. He didn't leave, he was still there. For the most part, well, he did probably, you know, he did leave. He went for a walk. We'll talk about that later. We see that her brother Michael is there because she done did her interview. She feels good. She was happy-go-lucky in the interview. She put on her happy-go-lucky face, and you know, she talked to the station of that particular city, and then she was getting ready for a show. So, you know, with her getting ready for a show, we see her brother Michael is there. You know, Michael is the only brother within all the sisters, within their siblings. And, you know, Tamar was saying to him, like, you know, because he said, you know, have you talked to Dad or anyone else? And she's like, no, I haven't talked to anyone. You know, Vince got me working all day. I've been busy all day. You know, he just got me doing all these jobs. And then my thought process is, But Tamar, ain't you there to work? I mean, I think sometimes, and before you motherfucking Tamar just come for me, don't forget I am one too. So the most when y'all come at me for my opinion, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I love Tamar, but my thing is I can love someone and still be objective to when they on some bull stuff. So you know, and I love Tamar. You know, I am a Tamartian. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, but yeah, when she said that, I was like, "But you there to work?" I mean, no, I didn't lost my daggone train of thought. No, I didn't. Yeah, when she said that, I was like, sometimes I feel like Tamar wants Vince to be more of her husband when he's been her manager when it suits her. Like, a real manager kind of wouldn't be setting time aside for you to call your parents. You just would call your parents when you want to call your parents. So when she said, you know, he got me working all day. Well, he's your manager. Y'all there for a show. So my thing is, I don't see why that's a bad thing. But not only that, it takes 2 seconds to make a phone call. I don't think, you know, within my work day, when I'm, you know, I get up and I go to my regular job, I'm doing stuff throughout the day, I come home, I'm watching the shows, I'm reviewing stuff, I talk to my mama at least 5 times a day. Because in those pockets of when I'm busy, you take that moment to reach out to your family. You know, when you don't reach out to your family, when you don't want to. I don't think how busy she was would have prevented her from taking 2 minutes to call her daddy. You know what I'm saying? The same way when the camera crew came in, they said, we need to do this interview. You said, you know what? Give me 3 minutes and then I'll do that. You could have said the exact same thing, doing anything else within the day. So my thing, you didn't call your daddy because you didn't call your daddy. And you know what I'm saying? You didn't call your daddy because, as we see, she said that she's not talked to her father since they had that vacation to Mexico last year, where he brought his wife and a whole bunch of things happened. So my thing was, Vince ain't had nothing to do with you not calling your daddy. Because my thing is, too, if you knew you were going to Delaware, is it Delaware where they was from? Maryland. If you knew you was going to Maryland, where your daddy lived, you would have called him before you got there. Dad, look, I know we're talking in a minute, but I'm going to be in town, you know, these 3 days. You want to meet up? You know what I'm saying? You can't make it seem as if, oh, I'm here now and I just have just no time to call him and talk to him. But you ain't called and talked to him in months. Or however much time it's been since that Mexico trip. And I'm believing that has been at least 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. So my thing is, you can't make it seem as if, oh, I had to call my dad within this day because I was in his city and I couldn't because Vince had me working. I felt like that was her kind of pointing the finger at things that Vince did, but it had nothing to do with the reason she wasn't doing something. Girl, you booked and you busy. Be booked and busy, but you can't blame someone else for you not calling your parent. That's my opinion. I don't care how you feel about it. But you know what I'm saying? She had her show. She was nervous. She had her show. Her show was fine. Yeah, she sang. That's all. You know, that's all they showed. So after that, we see. I smacked my lips. It was so loud. I'm sorry, y'all. After the show, they didn't show Vince at the show, but I'm assuming he was there because they showed him come back in at the end. He was saying, that's what I forgot to mention. He came in, and that's what he was saying, like, oh yeah, he went out to talk to Logan or whatever. He's like, you know, but I'm here to make sure everything go good, and you know what I'm saying? I'm her manager, you know, I get blamed for stuff, you know what I'm saying? I'm used to it, so it is what it is. So, yeah. Now they at dinner. It's Tamar, it's Vince, and it's like 4 or 5 friends, but a couple of the friends, she said, you know, were fan friends, people who were fans who became her friends. And I'm aware that you can become friends with your fans, but I just find it different that somebody else mentioned this in my comments last week. Tamar's circle has completely changed. Like, she doesn't have any of the same friends. And I say that to say this. My set of friends, my core set of friends have not changed in the past 20, you know, I have the same set of friends. You know, they rotate here and there a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, my best friend has been my best friend since the 4th grade. You know what I'm saying? My cousin Nay, forever. My boo Carla, I've known her since 2002. My girl Reba, met her when we was working at met her 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago. Can't even remember. But you know what I'm saying? My circle stays tight. And I just feel like when you have a completely new circle of friends, I don't know what's going on, but you know, it is what it is. I ain't gonna say nothing. So Vince asked one of the fans, how you feel about how our show went. And then he like, I think it was great. I had been waiting for her to get a live Vince. I know she would go off, and she did. She had a great, great concert. So from that, Vince then said, saying Tamar always sounds phenomenal. But I get blamed when she thinks she won't be great. Tamar like, what? He tried it? What's he doing? You know what he's talking about? And my thing is, this is what I find that both Vince and Tamar both do. One of them will say something that's not necessarily shade, and they will find the shade within it and then make it an issue. Because when he said, Tamar always sounds phenomenal, but sometimes she will blame me because she thinks she won't be great. All I think he meant is, and he kind of elaborated on it because she was, he said because she gets nervous, but she's always great. What that meant was, before a show, she get pissed off at me sometimes. Whatever ain't right, she pissed. If the sound ain't right, she pissed. If a light ain't right, she pissed. And because I'm her manager, she blames me. But she always sounds great. I didn't think there was anything wrong with what he said. I think he was giving an honest thing of, you always sound great. It don't matter how nervous you get, you are great. Like, it was a compliment. You know what I'm saying? It was a compliment. It wasn't even something shady. And she's like, he tried it because, it's not about me having any insecurities. But I'm like, I don't think he was calling you insecure. Being nervous isn't an insecurity. Being nervous is a human emotion. You know what I'm saying? And it's a human feeling. It's not you being insecure within your gifts. It means you're just nervous in general. And because you're nervous, sometimes you give off bad vibes, bad energy, or you're just wanting to yell at someone in hopes that this something doesn't go wrong. And if it does go wrong by chance, I can say, I told you the sound wasn't right. You ain't fixed it. So it's your fault that I didn't sound good. But you always sound great. You know what I'm saying? Again, they both find the shadiness in an innocent comment, and then it becomes a situation. So, you know what I'm saying? When she's saying, I was irritated that he wasn't there. He's usually great at sound check. He wasn't at sound check. She's like, matter of fact, you know what I'm saying? Your ass should have been at sound check. I was irritated that you wasn't there. I'm going to dock your pay. And I think it was a funny conversation, but at the same time, I thought you were dead ass serious too. And then he says how, he know that she wanted her voice to be great. And that she blames me. I'm used to it. It is what it is. He's like, but at the end of the day, you do what's best for your client. And I think that's the thing you're supposed to do. But sometimes managers and clients they bump heads. The issue with Tamar and Vince is they married. So they feel like they can say kind of whatever they want to say to the other one. And it be under this thing, well, you're my manager. I should be able to cut you out when something is wrong. You can, but that's still your husband. So if you cuss your manager out at a outing, y'all ain't at work, it's going to trickle back into the office. You know what I'm saying? You can't just kind of let loose on someone because you feel comfortable with them. For example, you can't be comfortable in a work setting and be friends with people in a work setting and just say stuff and think it might not have any consequence, because it might. You know what I'm saying? If you say to somebody, you know what, I have a system of how I rate people, and I think this is how I rate you. You can't say that at work because the person might be offended. Y'all could be cool, but you in a whole different setting. You have to know what setting you're in to how to act around or act towards people. Because sometimes you go off and cuss people out. How Tamar cussed Vince out. How Vince and cussed Tamar ass out. How they both went at each other. Because it's a lot between the two of them. With the husband and wife. And you know what I'm saying? It was what it was. But anywho, I got all off topic. I'm sorry. She then said, hey, where did you go anyway when you left? You know what I'm saying? What happened? What made you go outside? And he was like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I went and took a walk. And she was like, why? And when she said why, I'm like, why do they keep having these personal husband and wife or even manager and client conversations in front of everybody, in front of these friends that I don't even know if they really friends versus they just castmates to fill up them seats? Tamar and Vince both. Tamar a little bit more than Vince. Talks about their personal life too much in front of strangers. And friends can be strangers. And so when I say strangers, I mean anybody that's not you and your husband. I mean, I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying? And as she said it, everybody that's picking up their drinks, sipping their tea. And my thing is, I wouldn't even want people to know the ins and outs of my marriage, the good, the bad, the trials, and the tribulations, or whatever. That's the thing that people have to realize. You have to keep people out your marriage, because if you let people in your marriage, they didn't give you opinions, but they give you their opinions. And it might not be good. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like sometimes when they had these dinners and it's a whole conversation about because it's about them. They can say, oh, people, or, anybody, hypothetical, y'all talk about each other and we know it. I'm like, I wish they would have just not had conversations in front of these strange people. And, he says, the reason I took a walk is because you was frustrated. And so I felt like I needed to go take a walk. And, you know what I'm saying? She said, him not being on top of things, and not telling her about interviews, missing the sound check is a reason why she wants to bring in a new manager. And, she's like, how it's just not good and things need to change soon. But again, I'm not the person who wants to have personal conversations in front of random-ass friends who is just random-ass friends. I think when me and my husband having issues, I don't want to have that conversation in front of people. Because my thing is, one or two things is going to happen. Either one, it's going to be an argument. Or two, it's as if you bring it up in front of people to prove your point of how somebody else is. Or you need an audience so they can see, I told you Vince ain't shit. See, I told you Tamar mouth was crazy. You can't, at the end, I'm talking about them both. Y'all, you just shouldn't do that. You just shouldn't. So from there, her friend then asked her at the table, hey, did you talk to your dad yet? Have you had a conversation? You know what I'm saying? What happened? And Tamar says, you know what I'm saying? Well, no. He had me working all day. I didn't have a moment till now. My thing is, from the amount of time it took you at the end of your show to change clothes, to get a different wig put on, to get your makeup done, to put your clothes on, to drive to the restaurant, you could have called your daddy 5 times by then. Call a spade, that's the truth what it is. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me that you've been so busy, because let's not get me wrong. Tamar is booked and busy, okay? She is. She absolutely is. But you have to drive to and from. You have to fly to and from. And those are the moments that you can... I call my mama every day on the ride home from work. Because if by chance when I get home, I'm too busy recording and listening and doing whatever else, I've talked to my mother. I would have called my daddy on the way to the restaurant. You had time. But again, it's a thing of her saying, this is something he did. He had me so booked that I couldn't call my daddy. But that ain't even really true, because you could have called your daddy. You know what I'm saying? Your husband and your manager do got you booked and busy, boo-boo, but you could have called him. Now, could Vince have said, you know what, Tamar? I'm going to set aside 30 minutes for you to call your daddy. What for? Why? Who knows what would have happened? But my thing is, you can't blame him for that. You know what I'm saying? Vince says how, and Vince said what I just said. Lord Jesus, I wasn't even reading that. Vince says, if she didn't have a chance to call her dad, that's not my fault. She working, which is true. When you working, you don't sometimes have the luxury to stop and do family things. When you self-employed, you do, though, because you ain't got no boss. Okay, a boss ain't clocking your time. And again, that's what I'm saying. She had moments in between working, driving to and from an interview. When you sitting and you getting your makeup done, girl, use speakerphone. But she ain't called her daddy because she don't want to. Okay, she don't want to. Her and her daddy still upset about that Mexico trip, and that's fine. It's fine that it's taking you time to do whatever. But what I say is, man, look, call your parents daily. You don't want to waste time, and you don't call your parent, and then when you go to call your parent, they not there for you to call them. Ain't nothing worse than wanting to call. You know how bad I wish I could call my daddy, but I can't. You know what I'm saying? So every excuse that she's made, I think that might have been why it was like calling bullshit on her saying why she ain't called him. Bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You people need to realize how blessed you are to have a parent. You know what I'm saying? And your daddy, oh girl, you need to call your damn daddy. Okay? Now, okay, let's move on before I get all the emotional stuff. So, the next thing, Tamar take James and EJ to get face. EJ? Is it EJ? Yeah, EJ to get face. Now look, let me tell y'all something. I'm tired of people having plus size people on TV and they don't treat them right. The fact that they had James in that tight ass robe at that facial place, they couldn't get no plus size robes at all. This is the reason too why I don't like going certain places, because I feel like they don't cater to plus size people. So I have to bring my own robe to the spa. If you are a public place that serves the public, you should be aware that everybody's a different. I gotta fix my bra. I'm sorry, y'all. That was so unprofessional. Anyway, but yeah, they had him in that tight ass. I mean, the robe. I mean, it closed, but it was tight. Like, y'all didn't know y'all were doing a scene with him. Y'all knew that man was plus size. Y'all knew it. Okay, you knew it. And y'all knew the robe y'all had for that man did not fit. Okay? At all. Even if the establishment didn't have a robe that size, which is still bad. The production could have at least said, man, look, let's get him a proper size robe so that, you know what I'm saying, he can, you know, they had him in tight ass. I'm like, he came out in a tight ass. Lord Jesus, it is. You know what? Whatever. Anywho, you know, she brings them there to basically let them know she wants to talk to Vince about getting a new manager. It was, you know, but we know that. Okay, we know that to be true. You know, they're like, well, how long? You know, how long have you been thinking about this? She's like, oh, about 4 years. And when I thought to myself, 4 years? Like 4? I'm just 4? Ain't she been out for 4 years? I don't know. Look, I just think. She said she brought it up years ago. It didn't happen. It was a no-go. I guess didn't want her to do it. And, you know, she do say she's going to wait until after Vince's friends go out of town to talk to him about it, because his friend is coming to town. I'm like, damn, 4 years? Girl, I would have got a fucking new manager. If I've been thinking about it for 4 years, girl, you was in slavery. Anywho, Vince's friends is in town. 2 of his friends from Jersey. I think they both was kind of cute too. I was like, hey, but they might be older, so I don't know, because I don't like older men too much. So we gotta see about that. So they looking at Vince and how he looks better now, how he looks healthier, he looks happier, because he lost all that weight. And they kind of having funny talk. It's kind of cool. They cracking jokes about Vince losing weight. You know, Tamar saying how he wants to be Jet Beauty of the Week. This is the Vince and Tamar I miss. This is the funny, cracking jokes. You know what I'm saying? Just not so tense. You know what I'm saying? That was a good moment of them laughing and being honestly happy. We seen Tamar cook, you know what I'm saying, stripper club, lamb chops. We know all the strip clubs got lamb chops now. I don't know why. And y'all killing all the lambs in America. I mean, because how many lambs you gotta kill to get their chops? Like, I mean, let me stop. Anywho, so, you know what I'm saying? You know, he said how she a hater because she always cracking jokes on him losing weight. But he said how he feels amazing. He's like, you know what? I've always been fly. And he said, you know, I've always had, you know what I'm saying, bad bitches. I'm like, have you, Vince? You always had bad bitches? And he whispered bad bitches because Tamar was right there. And she was like, excuse me, what you just say? What? Well, no, I said I always had bad women. Nope, you said bad bitches. But the thing is, people seem to think because a person's plus size, they can't pull whoever. Look, I can say that for the most part, I am the president and the CEO of the Plus Size Association, Administration, University, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? And we, the people of the plus size, ain't got no issue with nobody. Ever. Okay? And, I pull bad bitches too. As a man. You know what I'm saying? I pull bad men. Because I guess men ain't bitches. You know what I'm saying? But you can't think it's because Vince was big that he wasn't pulling, you know what I'm saying, cute females. Man, look. You know how many ugly skinny girls it is, or how many ugly skinny guys it is who pull pretty people? Look, it is somebody for everybody. So, you know what I'm saying, Vince, you've been fly your whole life and you've been pulling bad bitches. Keep being fly and keep pulling bad bitches, because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep being fly and keep, you know what I'm saying, because I'm a bad bitch too. I'm sorry, I'm being all off topic. Anywho, so he's just saying how, you know what I'm saying, he's just always been confident within himself. So him losing weight don't mean that he like thinks anything differently. He's saying how Tamar keeps saying that he's probably losing weight for somebody else, and says, you know what I'm saying, I don't know why you losing weight for, you already got me. And he like, I lost weight because I was unhealthy and I needed it medically. And you know what I'm saying, good for them too. We then see they have 2 different outings. we see they don't have anything. They never together out anywhere. They aren't. They only together by themselves at their house. That is different. Because we see Tamar is out with EJ and James at a sex store, while Vince and his two friends is at a cigar bar. Now, I don't know why. I think EJ and James assumed Tamar is approved. And now she showed them that she is not. Because when they said, you know what I'm saying, does he ever pick you up? And she's like, what you talking about? And EJ picked her up. And she jumped up on EJ and she did a little backflip. She like, look, I am a lady in the streets and a freak in the streets, which you should be. No one should know the dirty, 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 nasty things you do with your husband. Like, that should be a secret. And that's what she does. But you know what I'm saying? She bought some things up in there. She bought like $400 worth of stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? We're going to see what she's going to use that. We see Vince, who was talking to his friends and just saying how he really wants the best for Tamar. And he said at times he thinks he might go too far, or might go overboard, basically. He said, but I do it all out of love. And, you know, he said, you know, how he felt like nobody would care for her career the way he does. And I completely can get that because he's her husband. So he feels like, look, I'm going to go for my wife how nobody else go for my wife. And I just feel that to be true. I feel the same way. It's the same how you feel like if I'm having a manager, I'm gonna have a mama because she loves me. But sometime within that runs its course because eventually it can become a difficult situation. I think Vince is just maybe not at the point where he sees how difficult it is on their marriage. He either can be blind to it, he can be ignoring it. But you know what I'm saying? I don't think there's anything wrong with him wanting to be his wife's manager because he believes in her that much. I think that's a great thing. But if he is going overboard, you need to back it up and just calm down. So it's a whole nother dinner. All the friends there. You know, James there, EJ there, Vince's friends there too. And you know, I'm like, okay. Benzino was also there too. I think, no, they was at the house. It was at Tamar and Vince's house. So, you know, one friend says how, no, Benzino gave some really, he said something amazing. He said, you know, when you're with someone so much, at times, you know, y'all get tired of each other. And, you know what I'm saying, sometimes within that, you know, you have to separate. He said, but however, you should always want to separate on good terms because if you separate on good terms, it's easier. It's like a breather. And you can kind of come back together at a time, which is very true. He then says, you know, because love is in love if it's not tested. I said, this comes from Benzino? Althea's man, Benzino? Benzino fell over him. I'm like, where he come with? I mean, I was like, Benzino. You know, it was great advice. You know what I'm saying? Vince, you know, friend then says how at times you can lose yourself in a relationship or you can lose your identity in a relationship. Man, I don't know why they opened up this goddamn can of worms. You know, Tamar is happy and she's like, you know what, you know, how I feel, you know what I'm saying? But no, I got all confused. She said sometimes she feels like she doesn't know who she is anymore. And, you know, it's like you can feel like you lost yourself. And she said, it's like I feel like if I lose myself, I'm going to lose my man. Now, as she's talking, Vince is looking at her like she crazy. So Vince is like, I'm like, why is Vince raising his hand? What is he doing? You know, he then says how, you know, in a relationship, I feel that, you know, that is your issue. If you feel like, he didn't point at her, just to be point, I'm sorry. He said, I feel like that's that person's issue. If you feel like you don't know who you are anymore, and if you feel like if you change, you're going to lose your man, that isn't my personal issue. It's your issue that we need to address. And he says, but it is understandable, but it's your issue. And I agree with him, simply because something isn't working for one person. It doesn't mean that it's not working for the other person. So just because it's not working for the other person doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means y'all not on the same page. And y'all have two different points of views and y'all are different places. And y'all need to kind of come in the middle and meet up about it or whatever. You know, he says how, you know what I'm saying, it's like showing someone one page for 5 years. And then out of the blue, they show you another page. He's like, I feel like it's like, who have you been all this time? And you like, it was a whole conversation, you know, because Tamar goes, because she looking confused as he talking. And what I didn't like is that when Tamar was giving her point, Vince for the most part was listening and paying attention. He then gave his point. Well, he gave his point. She kind of like turned around and kind of just wasn't present in what he was saying. She was, because again, she was in her feelings. Because again, they're using their own situation. They're using their marriage. And they're giving these scenario responses. And it's pissing the other one off in one way or the other. And it's because, but it's, you can't do that. You can't bring up issues about y'all marriage and expect the other person to not feel about it. Vince can't say, well, that's your issue, and think Tamar won't have a feeling about it. The same way Tamar can't say, well, I feel like I lost myself, and Vince can't be mad if she feels. You know what I'm saying? Y'all both. It was just not foolishness. It wasn't too much foolishness. It was just, you can clearly see they not listening to each other. They're not, and well, they're not. You know, he says how you can lose your identity in a family with 5 kids, and you one of the 5. Because Tamar was. She's the youngest, and she felt like she was, you know, alienated sometimes with her family. But from there, you know, he also goes in to say, people will say, you know, people will show you one side of themselves for so long, but they, as the relationship evolves, they'll show you a different side of themselves, but you won't even know that's who they've been this whole time. They just wasn't trying to, they wasn't trying to show you. A sheep in wolf's clothing, same thing. I think the conversation they were having was a base model conversation of, you show me who you want me to think you are to make me fall in love. And then when I'm in love, I'm someone different. And Tamar is saying, well, you know what I'm saying, I was someone different and I just evolved, and you ain't involved, you not evolving with me. It was like a, you know, Tamar saying, hey, people don't grow at the same time. You know, if you've been doing things one way for years and things not working for you, you know, anymore, you should be vocal about that. She says, it doesn't mean that I'm not saying that you don't work for me. I'm saying this thing right here, doesn't work for me. I still love you, but this right here, I don't love it. You know what I'm saying? It can be anything simple as, I love you, but I hate our house. I love you, but I hate our couch. I love you, but I hate our bed. It ain't working for me. We need to fix it. And you know what I'm saying? Logan saves the day because he comes in to get Tamar to tuck him in the bed, and so Tamar leaves, and then the conversation, and like no one was arguing, no one was fussing or fighting, but it was still a conversation of them. They were talking without listening to the other one. They both were giving their own points of view, and they weren't listening at each other at that point in time. What else? 2 more scenes technically. So there's one scene where Tamar takes Vince to see it was a cosmetic dermatologist. She just doesn't want him to have that surgery. You know, that's what it is. And so she's taking him to see this doctor, hoping he can convince Vince to not have it. The doctor does give a suggestion of having have an ultrasound and radio frequency treatment to tighten his skin versus having the skin removal. I mean, Vince, he did lift up Vince's shirt, so we do see his stomach. I've watched a whole bunch of doctor shows, okay? I've watched Dr. Miami. I watch all kind of cosmetic shows. I do think that a cosmetic surgeon would say his skin can be looser, you know what I'm saying, than what it is. Meaning, when Tamar said you can work out and exercise a little bit, he can. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that he gonna do that and it's gonna fix the issue at all. But sometimes when I'm seeing like the sagging skin, it's like it's deflated skin, and his just didn't look deflated. It looked like he's still losing weight, which is a great thing. But I do think they would say, you know, we'll hold off on the surgery just yet. So, but you know, talk to the doctor. The doctor was like, you know, I think you should try this other option first before you try surgery because of your health issues. You know, I have other people who've done it. You know, they see like a 50 to 60% improvement in it. So, you know, I think this would be a good option for you. And Vince agrees to try it. I think Vince's thing has always been, he just wants to be healthier. You know what I'm saying? I don't see anything wrong with what he's wanting to do. And everyone knows after weight loss surgery, you eventually do have the excess skin removal. So I don't think what he's doing is like superficial or like he's just trying to be extra. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So let's hope that he can, you know, get the results that he wants to get. So the last scene, another goddamn going dinner. I'm so tired of him going to dinner with friends. I don't know what to do with myself. You know, at this particular scene, you know, one of Vince's friends says how he also worked with his wife. And, you know what I'm saying, he says how it's hard, but they only work together like in one aspect of things. And he's like, a lot of times I feel myself giving in because I just don't want to have to deal with the conflict of it. So, I do it to avoid conflict. And, Tamar like, you know what? I can agree with that. I think that's great. Me and Vince work together on everything, and it's a lot to deal with. And, she said how we have issues too. And Vince is like, he just feel like no one will work as hard for Tamar than he do. And she's like, well, how do you know that? There are other people who might want to, work hard for the coin, and they might also believe in me too. And I don't think Vince is saying like no one will work as hard for you because they don't believe in you. I think he's saying sometimes the person closest to you rocks with you the hardest. But sometimes people who don't be close to you rock with you the hardest too. So like me. Most of my viewers, it's strangers. Well, they're not. Y'all, I talk all the time, it's not strangers. But like, sometimes my friends don't have time to watch my stuff. And it's cool, but sometimes people you don't know rock with you the hardest. And she's saying how I just want, something has to change. It's just different. She's like, no, because he then said, well, you have issues at every show that I'm not at. So what you talking about? And wait, is that what he said? I might have to edit this, so if I do, just ignore me. Oh yeah, because she like, how do you know? Well, nobody want to do that or whatever. And that's when he said, you have issues at shows when I'm not at. And she's like, well, no, those are like regular issues that, anyone has, And then she's like, I just feel like it's hard for us to figure out where we are business-wise. And then Vince is like, wait a minute, what's the question that you want to ask here? And then she said, I think we should bring in a new manager. And he was like, fine, go ahead. I don't care. Do it. And she was like, see, but that's a lie. So this is my little issue right here. Did Vince agree so fast because he was pissed off? Or because they've had this conversation before and he keeps saying do it and she think he not serious, so then she don't do it? So my thing is, if you say to somebody, you know what, I want to burn the house down. You're like, all right, burn it down. Okay, I'm going to burn it down. So my thing is, if you say to him, I want to bring in a new manager, and he says, all right, go ahead and do it, then just do it. Don't say, you lying. You don't mean that. Because if you keep saying that and then you just don't do it thinking he not wanting you to do it, you stopping yourself from doing what you want to do. And you're putting it on him by saying, he don't want me to do it. But it don't matter what he want. And then the next thing Vince said is, you are a grown woman. You can do whatever you want to do. And you know what I'm saying? Vince is like, because it's friend like, are you serious? You want to bring somebody in? She's like, yes. There's just so much going on. With arguments, the fussing, the fighting. And you know what I'm saying? We would just have to separate it. And she's like, we have to, just to bring the happiness back in our home. And he like, well, she think it's something better on the other side. And she's like, well, it is. Happiness. We won't be arguing about $1 here, $1 there, or this. They wouldn't be having a manager issues, and their marriage can be happier. And then she's like naming off all the different things. He's like, all right, let me know when you're done. And she's like, oh. And then it goes off. So this episode was not as bad as the other ones that we've seen. The arguments are less volatile, I think, and I'm hoping they get into more of a better place where they know what they want to do. I ain't sure, but anywhere I go, that was my review. Well, I'm gonna say one more thing. At the end of this episode, they have a part where Tamar gives her opinions on the show. This is me being biased, as some of y'all say I don't ever be. I feel like the show is called Tamar and Vince. I feel like if they're gonna give Tamar time to give her perspective on how she saw things going, and it's her in her own confessional, whatever, I feel like, to be fair, let Vince do the same. You know what I'm saying? At the end of each episode, give her 2.5 minutes, give him 2.5 minutes, and they can say how they were both feeling separately, you know what I'm saying, about things that happened. Only because when you only have Tamar, it seems like somebody's picking sides, the TV show. And I just feel like it would be more fair to them as a couple, as a former couple, who were both on the show, to get both of their perspectives. Because I'm pretty sure Vince might have his own thing to say, the same way Tamar should have her own thing to say. I just think it would be fair we can hear both of their opinions. Because my thing is, you showing her opinion because they're now getting divorced. That's the only reason. Let's be honest. That's the only reason they showing extra stuff. So I feel like if you're gonna do that, do it for him too. You know what I'm saying? Let us hear it. Because again, if you think about it, no one has heard from Vince at all about nothing. No, he hasn't responded to nothing. His was I was gonna say his parents, Lord. His parents are dead, Lord. I'm sorry. But yeah, you haven't heard anything from him or anyone dealing with him. All we've seen from Vince is how he's now managing Remy Ma and how he's now managing Escape. So, you know, but again, I like the ending with Tamar answer, you know, saying her opinion. I just feel like, to be fair, maybe give Vince the same, you know what I'm saying, opportunity. So, other than that, I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner. Until next time, people, peace.